Hello, 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 and welcome to 927, the digital marketing agency for you. As you can tell, I am not in the office right now. I'm in a different place. I actually flew back home to Washington D.C. and I'm going to be out here for a few days. And during my travels, I actually took a flight here. Didn't think driving was even an option. But during my travels, I noticed a few things as I walked through the airport, caught flight, got my tickets and everything. I noticed a few things. So one of the first things I noticed was that flights were back at full capacity. Like people were sitting on either side of me or different rows. Like the flights that I was on was completely booked up in full. Another thing that I noticed is that the snack options that are normally on these flights have decreased. So normally they would push down the aisle these big old carts and give you almost anything you could think of. But now they walk around with these cards where it's just a few options for I remember Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, and water. And so these were the options that they just gave you pretzels. I mean, if you don't like any of that stuff, make sure you bring stuff to the airport. But I thought it was interesting because making these small sort of changes, I guarantee, has significantly decreased some of the expenses that they have on the flight. Even though the snacks don't generate or are not that big of an expense towards like fuel and everything and in salaries and things like that, but thinking about how many times they fly and how much snacks and beverages that they consume in a day, a year, a month, just on one flight alone, then thinking about all the other flights, I mean, it pretty much adds up. So decreasing it now makes it a little bit simpler and less expensive. So outside of those things, it had me thinking, flights last year were down about 95%. Besides the bailout, what are some of the things that these airlines are actually doing to actually produce revenue and get them back on track? Well, I started to do a little bit more research, and I was looking at some articles, and I noticed one of the things that really have been saving a lot of airlines was actually frequent flyer programs. And I didn't think about this. I didn't really think of this as an option because looking into it, some of the airlines like American Airlines, their frequent flyer programs is about 24 billion of the revenue. United, 20 billion of their revenue. Delta, 19 billion of their revenue. And these frequent flyer programs was not necessarily something that I thought of. I was thinking, maybe they could do some type of program where they're doing snow in August or snow in September, where they're pushing people to buy the holiday tickets now, which that way will give them cash on hand to then perform and use funds to do stuff later. So now that I found out that this frequent flyer program gave them and made them so much money, I wanted to understand a little bit more of how it actually worked. So what they do is create these flyer programs, and then they actually sell these points to banks, and that way banks incentivize their customers for actually making purchases. And it's a cycle in the system that works. I believe American Airline or Delta Airline actually renewed a contract up until 2029. So this is something that's been going on. This is something that actually worked and is proven. So one of the things they could probably do now is get more people in this frequent flyer program, use those promotion or those seasonal promotions to get people to buy those holiday tickets now, and use those funds to run more advertisements, forcing and encouraging people to actually get in these programs. That way they have a long-term guaranteed customer. They make more money on the front end, and they perform well, and they could put money and cushion themselves later on to prevent something like this happen again, or having money to get them into the next hump until all of this COVID-19 stuff is over. So that's just my thoughts. Quick question for you guys: when was the last time you actually took a flight? Where did you go? And if you are booking a flight now or want to go somewhere soon, where would that place be? Stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one.